What is going on, everyone? How y'all feeling tonight? Yo, thank you everyone for hanging out to Coast to Coast Comics. As always, we have my homie Jeff Cumberhan Henson. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
Great. And not only that, we have Perry Comics in the house. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well, man. How's it going?
All right, man. Just hanging out here with these amazing guys, man. Amazing guys. As always, you know who I am, the guy with the hat. And this is a special night because the writer from IDW that writes Road of Bones, man. I'm a fan. Obviously, you can tell that from there, right there. Man, Rich Dourek, how are you doing tonight, sir? Thank you
Doing
for
good.
the invite.
No, thank you for having me. It's always great to talk to people about my books and comics and stuff, and so I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. I really do appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh, well, we really appreciate you accepting, man.
There I go doing this boot crap. Sorry about this, guys.
It's okay. While Rod is getting set up, I'll acknowledge some people we got in the chat. We got our boy 2nd Street Marble. He says, "Nice. I can't wait to see this." Yeah, well, we can't wait to be a part of it. So hopefully this will be a good show. Rican Comics, what is up, buddy? Good to see you today. Ben Compton is lurking. That's right. When Perry's around, we're always lurking. The Comic Assassin, he says, "What's up? What's up, Comic Assassin? Thank you for joining us today." Metaphorical is in the house. What's up, Metaphorical? Good to see you again. Andy Tomberlin, what is up, buddy? Bake the Snake, what's up, Bake? Good to see you today, bud.
All right, guys. So you know what? This is it, man. This is I've been waiting for this for a few months now, man. Rich, how you been? If people
really good.
If people do not know you, let them know, what you've been doing or what you've been doing on IDW and all that stuff. Yo, he's the writer, dropping out great stuff, making books. So let the people know that don't know you right now. Let them know who you are, sir.
Yeah, so my name is Rich Dourek. Been writing comics for a few years now. My first series is out, I think it came out in 2016, even though I had self-published it for a few years before that. It's called Gutter Magic. That was with IDW as well. That led to me getting a couple of gigs writing some short, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff in their backup book, TMNT Universe. So did that, and then the whole time, when you're writing comics, it's you're always trying to get pitches and new books done. So last year, I had the idea for Road of Bones, pitched it to IDW, and they accepted it, thankfully. So we've been putting that out, and I put out another book called Wailing Blade with Comics Tribe. They're a smaller publisher, but I've known those guys for many years now. Super cool, great to work with. So that's what I got going on right now. I got Road of Bones and Wailing Blade. Road of Bones just finished up last week. Wailing Blade, we got one more issue that should be out towards the end of September. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm just always working on comics. I got a day job. I work in advertising. Do some writing for that too. But if I could, I would just write comics full time. Because writing about comics is a lot more fun than writing about candy bars and shit like that.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
My first thing is, was writing comic books something you had always planned on doing, or wanted?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's something that it's I always wanted to do. I used to read when I was a kid. I was all about reading Marvel, DC. I think the first comic I ever bought was probably a Marvel G.I. Joe comic, and then I just started buying more because it was like I came out like when I was a kid, it was like when G.I. Joe like first came out, it was like, oh my God, you know, like so I saw the comic and I was like, I gotta get that. But then I got into like Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, like all that stuff. And then, you know, like you kind of like when I would say like probably when I started college, I kind of like fell out of it, and I knew I wanted to be a writer, but I wasn't necessarily thinking I would be writing comic books. But then I kind of kept going to comic stores because, you know, just like kind of look around, and I would pick up a lot of like Vertigo books like Sandman and Transmetropolitan. One of my like, probably one of my all-time favorite books was Transmetropolitan. But it kind of opened my mind a little bit. It was like, you know, I could write comics. It doesn't necessarily have to be like superheroes. Like you could write like anything you want, you know?
Right.
But even then, I was like, I don't know how to write a comic. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So it still took me like a few years of kind of like reading comic script. Took a couple of like online classes at Displays Comics Experience .com. And, you know, eventually, like, I learned how to, like, write, like, a script, and I had the script for just, like, a 5-page story, right? And I was like, well, you know, it could either, like, sit on my hard drive, or I could try to find an artist to illustrate it, and let's see how it goes. So I had no idea what I was doing, but I just, like, I contacted a couple of people, found one guy, this guy, Jason Baruti. He's a great artist. You know, he liked the story, illustrated it. And like the second those pages, like he emailed them to me, like I opened them and I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever done. So,
it's like you're seeing something you created come to life, man. Right?
Exactly. So after that, I was kind of hooked, and I wrote a few more short stories to kind of like, you know, get my feet under me a little bit and know what I was doing. And then I think it was after I'd written like 5 or 6 of those, then I started working on Gutter Magic, like as a longer series. And yeah, you know, and then I started going to New York Comic Con every year, a couple other cons here or there, and just making friends and trying to talk to editors and things like that. And yeah, and just eventually, like over time, just kind of came together.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, man. You know what? I think it's time. If we want to talk about Roll the Bones and keep it going here, anybody who have any questions from the chat, yo, it looks like you know what? I'm so nervous, guys. I ain't gonna lie, man.
We got Bake the Snake in the chat. He commented that he thinks that William Blade is an awesome book too.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that book, and some people are like, it's hard to find the book, find issue 2, and people are hunting for it. I tried to buy the book online, and it was sold out. I couldn't get it. So it's
a little hard because, you know, like you know, Comic Tribe, they're a great publisher. But they just kind of like a little bit smaller than like definitely than like IDW or like an Image or something. So it's not so much that like the books aren't available. It's just that it just makes it that much more of a challenge for a lot of stores to carry it, because you know, like we reached out to a lot of stores, and there's so many that really responded, and you know, were big, like here in New York, like Forbidden Planet has a lot of them. Midtown Comics got behind us.
Are you going to be at New York Comic Con?
Yeah, I'll be there. All
I'm going to be there too, so I'm going to come and find you, and I'll say hi. And nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love to see you. But then, you know, there's a lot of stores that just sort of like, they'll order like mostly like Marvel and DC, and like indie books they just don't order big on, and the ones that they do tend to be like Image books or, you know, Dark Horse, IDW, like kind of like the larger companies. So it's just a challenge to like get it out there. So that's part of why we did it. We launched it with the Kickstarter. We have like online sales at comicstribe.com and stuff like that, just because it's like we realized that we kind of needed more and different ways to kind of get the book out there to people, because, you know, it's tough. But, you know, you know, it's like if you can't find a physical copy, you can read it on Comixology digitally. You know, and we're going to keep trying like new ways to get it out there. Like once all 4 issues are out, we're going to do like a trade. So hopefully that'll be, you know, just like another way to get it, you know, you'd be able to like order it online or from stores and stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, it's a great book. Like it's very kind of different from writing Rotobones because it's very like kind of over the top action, like Space Barbarians and shit. So
yeah, right.
It's you know, it's kind of like, it's kind of funny that they're both coming out at the same time. It just happened to work out that way. Like as far as like when everything was like ready to start publishing.
Nice.
So,
sure, man. This stuff is off the park right now. I'm telling you, man. But I have a question though, because it's just a question in
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at Perry. He's sleeping. But as usual, Perry looks at me and looks like the chat and be like, "Oh my god, this is what it is, the usual stuff." But what was the most difficult thing about you breaking into the comic book industry?
Okay. I think, you know, probably the hardest thing is like kind of getting to the point where people will actually look at your stuff and seriously consider it. You know, I mean, because when you look at it from like, say, like an editor's point of view, like an editor at IDW or editor at Dark Horse or whatever, like they're at a convention, so many people are going to come up and be like, dude, I got a great idea for a comic book. And they'll be like, okay, what is it? And then they're going to explain it. It's like, can I see it? Oh, no. I didn't start writing it yet, or I didn't start doing the art. It's like, but it's a great idea. Do you guys want to publish it? And it's like, I think like the longer you're in here, it's like, nobody wants to like say no to like somebody who's like enthusiastic about their idea, but they're also not going to like take your word for it. You know what I mean? Like if you say like, I've got the greatest comic in the world, they'd be like, okay, well, show it to me. You know what I mean? So
we all got ideas, you know. I got
everybody got ideas.
I've heard a million people say, I'm going to write a comic book, you know? Yeah. So
I had like it was a New York Comic Con like 2 or 3 years ago. I had this conversation with this guy who was telling me how he wanted to rewrite Flashpoint because he felt that DC screwed up Flashpoint so bad that he was like, and I know exactly how to fix it, and I'm going to write it. He's like, so I'm just going to go find somebody at the DC booth, and I'm going to tell them my idea, and they're going to let me write it, and we're going to redo Flashpoint. You're going to see. And I'm like, best of luck, man. You know, like, I hope they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not the fact that like, I'm not like trying to shit on the guy's idea. You know, it might have been a great idea. It might have been like 100% better. It might have been 100% better than what Flashpoint was, but it's just like, that's just not kind of how the business works. Like, you know, you kind of need stuff to show people, to kind of give them confidence that you know what you're doing, and that if they invest in printing your book, that there's, you know, there's no guarantees, but that there's at least like a good shot that they're going to make back their investment and maybe make some money. You know what I mean? Because you know, a big part of it that I think is easy to forget when you're a creator, like when you're starting out and just thinking of ideas, is that it's like, you know, all this stuff takes money. So it's like, you know, IDW is thinking like, I don't know how much it costs to like exactly to print this stuff, but I would say probably like in the thousands to tens of thousands of dollars to print this book. So when I'm pitching them something, it's like, I'm not just asking them, you know, do you think this idea is cool? It's like, I'm thinking, do you think this idea is worth investing that much money in? You know,
right, into you know,
into me, yeah.
So you've got to make them believe that, you know, you're worth the risk, right?
Exactly. And the way you do that is by, you know, just finishing stuff. And it's like, and at first it's like, it could be short stuff, it could be, you know, a story in an anthology, it could be a webcomic. You know what I mean? Like you do whatever you can, finish whatever you can. But the point is that you got to have that kind of like something physical or like digital to just show them and just be like, this is me, this is what I do.
Right.
Like,
so for you as like a writer, I'm assuming they probably want what you would call a script, right? Like basically,
Well,
they want to see at least a script from you, and then kind of.
Well, the funny thing is that like, comics are such a visual medium that I could take my script and I could hand it to 5 different artists, and I would get 5 completely different looking comic books. You know what I mean? Because artists have different styles, artists have different strengths. Like I think like Alex that does Road of Bones, one of his strengths is he does really amazing like kind of facial expressions. Not every artist can do that. A lot of some artists like the faces look a little more static. So it's like and also scripts take longer to read than a comic. Like you could page through a comic, you can't really page through a script. So if I was to walk up to an editor at a con and hand them the script, if they were polite, they would say, "Thank you very much." And then they would take it and then just put it in a bag and forget about it. If they were not polite, they would be like, "I'm sorry, I can't read this." You know what I mean? So what you really want to do is you want to hand them like a finished thing.
So
and
you
like
already
I said,
had Road of Bones done when you approached IDW?
No. I had 5 pages of it done.
Okay.
I did
5 pages.
5 pages, and then I did like a kind of a I guess you call it like a synopsis. You know what I mean? Like kind of like, here's the characters, here's the story, here's where I see it going. So the 5 pages were to show kind of like what the art was going to look like, what the tone was going to be, what Alex was thinking. So and the reason we did 5 pages is because it's like that's kind of like I think like good enough where you can get like a scene in. You can get like a full scene. People can kind of see how it flows when you turn the pages, things like that. So, and I think 5 pages is kind of like the minimum. You know what I mean? Like if you can get more done before you submit, great. But from my point of view, it's like it's about like what I'm investing in it. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm going to invest money to do 5 pages and then see if they like it. And if they like it, then I'll put some more money into doing more. And then, when it gets picked up, then we'll do the whole thing. But, when I went to them, I had the scripts, I think for the first 2 issues done, but I didn't show that to them. It wasn't until they actually decided they wanted to publish it that's when I started sending them the scripts, because that's when like we're already working together.
That's awesome. I like how you said you started off with 5 pages, because that gives you a good understanding of if you're gonna like the book or not. And a lot of people make fun of me because I judge my book before I buy them at the shop. I go through the first 5 pages, and that's a perfect indicator if I'm gonna spend money on a book or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's enough. It's enough to know kind of like whether this is going to be your thing or not.
100%.
So that's like Wailing Blade. The pitch for that was 6 pages, but the only reason was because the last 2 was like a double page spread. It was like, so I had to have the extra page in there. Okay. But yeah.
So you have any say in like what artist does your books, or is that left up to the publisher?
Well, when it's my book, like Road of Bones or Wailing Blade, it is kind of, I would say, mostly up to me. Like if I find the artist and I'm like, this is it, and they see it, either they like the art or they don't. I mean, like if they don't want to work with that artist, then they're going to reject the book, and that's it. On stuff like TMNT or if it was a book that I was like hired to do, then I don't really have as much of a say. I could suggest people, but ultimately it's up to them, like who they want to get to do both the interiors and the covers and stuff. But that being said, my work on TMNT was like, it was 1 full issue and then like 2 backup stories, but they got really great people to do it. I think Aaron Conley did the issue, and then the backup stories were with Brom Revel and Buster Moody, and and they were all these are all like kind of like mostly indie guys, but they all did like great work, and it was great working with them too. So got no complaints.
All right, so just a quick question, man. So you work for indie, right? IDW, right? Mm-hmm. We love indie comic books, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's like major companies out there. So how did IDW just grab you through the arms and say, "Hey, come work with us"? How was that when they say accept us, accept we accept you to come to?
Like, are you asking like how did it happen, or how
did
how
you
did
go?
it feel?
Did you go to them?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, so I mean, basically, what I did was I looked at like the IDW books I liked, and got to know kind of like who the editors were there. And I do this with like pretty much all the companies. Like, if I see a book I like, I make a note of like who the editor is. Wow. And then if I'm at a convention and I know that the editor is going to be there, I'll go up and introduce myself. If it's been like a few conventions and there's somebody I really want to meet, I might try to send them an email if I could find out their email. Or if, maybe I know somebody who knows them or something. But basically what it is, it's like you just kind of reach out and, at a convention, have like, a couple of my books, like samples, and I'll just be like, here's my stuff, you take a look. And I don't really like to kind of like try to pitch something like right there at a convention, because usually these guys and gals are very, very busy. And if we could have like a 10-minute conversation, and it's going to be one of like 1,000 conversations they're going to have like that day. So what I try to do is just say like, hey, can I have your card? Can I send you an email? It was a little different with IDW because when we did Gutter Magic, it was through a partnership with that comicsexperience.com place that I was talking about. What it was is and still is, it's a place where you can kind of take classes about comic creation. And the guy that runs it, Andy Schmidt, had worked out a thing with IDW where they were going to take some of the books that were done as part of the classes and give them like a publishing run. So through that, I met my editor on Road to Bones, this guy, Bobby Curnow. Great dude, great writer in his own right. He had a book called Ghost Tree that started coming out right before Road to Bones. Awesome book. But anyway, but Bobby, I met him in person at New York Comic Con one year. We were talking, and then just like eventually at some point I was just like, hey, I got some ideas for books. Can I send you them? And he's like, yeah, send them in. There's like a whole process something has to go through at IDW before it gets like greenlit. Like, it's not like 100% up to him. Like there's like kind of like levels of people that have to like approve everything. But kind of like the way in to most of these companies is to kind of just get an editor to agree to like look at your stuff, and the way to do that is show them stuff you've done already, whether it's published, not published, whatever. Just you show them some finished stuff. They're like, sure, send me an email. Send them an email. Sometimes they're way too busy. They never get back to you. Sometimes they do. 99% of the time it's like no, but then that one time that it's a yes, makes it all worth it. So you just kind of have to like kind of be like persistent but not annoying. You know what I mean? Like I never really like if I'm trying to pitch something to somebody, I try not to hit them up any more than like maybe once a month or
don't
like
spam
every
them.
couple of weeks.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Don't send emails like that.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of like why,
man, you gotta hit them up, man. Yo, read this damn book, man.
I got a hit right here.
Like, bam. Oh yeah. But, well, no, I mean, like, I'd be lying if I said like, pre-Road to Bones and post-Road to Bones. It's like, like a lot of people are, let's say, like more open to like hearing what I had to say. You know what I mean? So it's definitely good.
That's awesome, man. Which I guess is part of the reason why we got you here is I think we should like open up and get into Road to Bones a little bit more.
Sure.
What do you guys
go down
think?
the road?
Yes.
Wow.
So if you guys in the chat don't know Road to Bones, I recommend going and reading it. I don't read a lot of books like this, and it's not like I just don't read these kinds of books. I just I haven't read a whole lot like this, but I was drawn in, and I didn't want to stop. And I read like I said, I read all 4 issues earlier. It definitely delves into the past, and I'm assuming that you probably had to do a little bit of research.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of research when you were doing these, because you did put some history into it.
Yeah, I did a lot of research actually, and it's kind of funny because what it was I was kind of researching prison breaks, like in general, right? Because I had an idea for a story that involved the prison breaks. So I was like, just wanted to like do a little bit of reading, and I found some like random website about like, it was just like stories about like the Gulag in Russia, and I started reading it, and I was like, damn, this is like really interesting, and it's not something that I had ever really heard about or knew about, So I started reading some more. I bought a couple of actual books. Like there's this one really, really good like novel called Day in the Life of Ivan Disinovich, I think it's called. But anyway, so the guy that wrote it, basically it's just a day in the life of like a prisoner at the Gulag, and the guy who wrote it was actually a prisoner in the Gulag, but because he was living in Russia under the Communist Party, he had to publish it as if it was fiction. But like looking at the guy's history and looking at the book, it's like, he's probably talking about like a lot of shit that like really happened, you know what I mean? So like, so I read that. I read a couple of other books on the subject, because it's like a tricky thing when you're doing history, especially history when like something like this where like a lot of people died, right?
Right.
And like the last thing I would want is for like someone who's like maybe like a relative of somebody who like died there, or like somebody who lived through it, to be like, well, you're making fun of this, or you're like, you didn't do your research, and you got a lot of stuff wrong. Like, I'm sure I did get a lot of stuff wrong, you know what I mean? But my intention was just like, as much as I could, just kind of honor like the real world part of it, you know what I mean? Because I think that's important, and like I think like a couple of you guys had said, and a couple of people have told me that like, they did want to like learn a little bit more, so they went and did some research on it, and I think that's a good thing, you know what I mean? Because I think like it's one of those things where it's like, if it just kind of gets like swept under the rug of history, then that's like, one of those things like, who knows, it could all happen again. So I think yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say that's like what we were talking before we went live, that we'd done a little research and found out that a lot of this stuff was actually stuff that had happened. Your story is different, but like the things that happened in your story were real things that happened and had taken place back in the time.
It's crazy, man, because you can Google it and you see all that. Anyway, you guys already know about that.
Well, if anyone in the chat hasn't read Rotobones, a gulag is like a prison camp, or like forced slavery camp that was under the rule of Russia during Stalin period. Well, from like the late 20s to like the 50s after Stalin died, and it is brutal. Like I think they said 18 to 20 million people died there. They worked like 14, 15-hour days, and I mean, living in Russia alone is hard,
It's like Siberia.
They feeding it to like that little monster. It's not a monster, but man.
I'd consider.
Yeah, there it is. Rich will not say who that monster is. You bracket to
okay. So Sergey, he's the one that got put in the camp for the joke, right?
That's Roman.
Did you create that joke, or is that like a real joke that somebody had gotten in camp for?
That's a real joke. That's a real joke. I don't know. I don't know if you could like go find some paper somewhere saying like, this guy went to camp for, got sentenced to 20 years for telling the joke, but it's a real joke. I did just another part of the research. Like I was looking up jokes about Stalin, about like Russia, and I was just like, I saw that and I was like, that's a good one. I think I'm gonna use that one.
Right. No, I once I read that joke, they finally told the joke. I could totally see like a crazy dictator doing that to somebody, like a Hitler or like Stalin.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking bad about me? You're telling me a joke? I'm throwing you in jail for 25 years. You know, and I was just like, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, but that's what it was. Like somebody got in touch with me. They said that their wife's grandfather actually got sent to the gulag because like the local official wanted his land and his cows. So they said, oh, well, he travels a lot. So that means that he's probably a spy because he's traveled to Germany. So he probably talked to the Germans there and he's a spy. So let's just throw him in jail, take all his stuff. And, and that was just like depressingly comic in that era. Like it was just rough, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, but I have to say that Alec Cormack is amazing.
Oh yeah.
What he did, man. Alec is like I mean, you can read books out there and see artwork and stuff like that, but his detail and the blood is like
man, the blood on the whites, everything's white
on the white snow.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing. It was cool.
And I have to say, man, it's just, man, I don't even know. Issue 3 was like eating the freaking flesh, man. I was like, what the heck?
It was crazy because when I was reading it, I'm like, how is this guy covered in so much blood? And then I started looking at what he's doing, and he's like skinning and gutting this guy, and I'm like, oh my god, like. Then you start thinking about like, well, I like to put when I'm reading a book, I like to put myself in the character's mindset. If I'm surviving with no food, this is something that's like, this is an option, and it turned, this is reality. Now we're eating people, you know, and that's insane. But like, what would you do in that survivor, that fight or flight, that I'm gonna do this or it's over, you know?
But look what he had. He had like a little thing like this.
Yeah, it was like what we were trying to do is like, these guys, like if they had access to a knife at all, it's going to be something tiny that they could hide, like a shiv or something, because they're prisoners. They don't let prisoners walk around with like freaking Rambo knives. So like, so yeah, I mean, if you think about like having to carve up the body with like a freaking penknife, it's like it's gonna get messy.
Yeah. Well, and I love when he's doing that. His buddy's like, "No, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And like, if I don't kill him, you guys were gonna kill me. It was like one guy telling him no, but that guy was getting ready to kill. It was. You could tell that they definitely had been like on, I guess what you would call on the road, and they had little food and. Yeah, that you could see their minds start to sway from the beginning of the story going on. You could just tell that they were falling deeper and deeper into I don't know what you call it, hysteria or something maybe like that. Yeah.
I mean, if you kind of look at the characters and the way they look in issue 1 compared to issue 3, like I think Alice just did a really good job of like every issue they just look more and more like gaunt and like thin and like haggard. Like you can tell that like it's not only like hard on their bodies, it's like hard on their minds too,
Yeah.
So I think that's just like one thing. I mean, like one of the reasons why I love Alex as an artist is just like he's just really good at kind of getting that kind of subtle stuff like across. I mean, he does great like gore and stuff like that, but for me, like the thing that like he's so great at is just these kind of like just like these characters, like they feel like very kind of like lived in and like real, what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you definitely did a pretty good job like differentiating them as well.
Because, well, we tried.
I read an article and they were saying that one of the hardest things was taking 3 guys that are stuck in the middle of snow in the same exact type of clothing, and similar looks, trying to differentiate so that the reader would not get lost. And I thought you did a pretty good job, especially.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's hard. And I think some people probably might have been a little bit confused, but it just kind of comes back to like, kind of honoring the reality of it, that like these guys are all, you arrive at this prison, you're issued basically a uniform, you know what I mean? And so what we tried to do is like, each guy had like it's kind of a different color to his uniform. They had different color hair, different color facial hair.
A little bit different facial features, nose,
exactly.
eyes, mouth kind of a thing.
Yeah. So, so it was definitely something like we had in mind, and we were just trying to like just make it as easy as possible, like to follow, So
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, exactly. Hey Jeffrey, do your thing and acknowledge the people in the chat. I think there's a bunch of people out there that we have not, we're just like here talking, have a good time with our special guest, Rich Dourek. What's going on? IDW writer from Roll the Bones, man. Not only that, man.
Welly and Blade, TM.
I got tongue tied right there. Yo, there it is, man. This is the writer right now. All you gotta do is check out
creator of Wailing Blade and Road of Bones. So it's pretty awesome to have someone like this on. Appreciate everybody being here. We've got my friend Mad Mike's Comics. Good to see you, Mad Mike. We got Junior Savignon. Good to see you. Zelos Comics. The man himself, Steve Whiting. Thank you, Steve, for joining us. The immortal Biggie Shack. What's up, Biggie? Good to see you today. Glitter and Duct Tape. Good to see you, Glitter. I collect a lot. Good to see you. If you haven't, I collect a lot. Did a pickup video earlier today, guys. You can go check that out if you're looking for something to watch after this. Comic Man Andy, good to see you. He says Road of Bones is a great read. Yes, it was. It was really good. Tacoma Comics, good to see you tonight. Tacoma, thank you for joining us. Wolf Warner, the man. I was watching your video the other day. Wolf Warner got me to go out and buy The White Trees. Thanks.
Oh, that's a great book. Yeah, I picked that up too.
I did not know that was a mature book.
I didn't either. Trust me. You should have seen my eyes when I got to that page. I was like, yeah. Dan Piercy. Thank you, Dan Piercy, for joining us. Justice for Comics. Poor Mike. The man himself. Chad, 90 Mother effing Comics. What's up, Chad? Good to see you, my friend. The Comic Assassin. What's up, Comic Assassin? Vu Hong. What's up, Vu? Thank you for joining us. Fictional Reality Arts. Good to see you tonight. Just a little podcast. Katie Ginther, good to see you tonight. Katie, Pam Disney, thank you, Pam. My man, Mr. Gretzky, thank you, Mr. Gretzky, for being here this evening. Andy Tomberlin, Funko Enthusiast, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys all being here.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And Comic Geek McD from across the pond. What's up, McD? Good to see you, man.
Hey, what's going on? All right, guys. So I just gotta, right now. We know what's been hot, but let's end it right now. We'll Roll the Bones. The Cave, man. The Cave. Holy effing crap, man. I emailed Rich and I was like, what happened, man? What's going on? And Rich is like, it's just like, I ain't saying nothing. So it's out there, man. It's out there. There's doors open for whatever. I guess for me, the way I look at it, it's open for other stories and stuff like that. But Jeffrey read it. He did.
Like I'll say, like people ask, is the Domovic real? Is he just crazy? And I just want to say, like, that's something that we said, like, from the first issue, like first ad we ever did for it. It's like, is he going crazy or is this a real thing? And like, it's just one of those things. Like I want people to like kind of think about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not saying that like it's going to be one or the other because.
Yeah, I think you should leave it like that too. Definitely. I don't think you should be telling people this is what's going on.
That last page, I was like, "Holy crap! This guy's like, he said everything himself."
He said there's a possibility that they revisit it. So if ever that does happen, I think it would be good for us to not know because we've been sitting here trying to figure it out. I think that's a good thing,
Gives you guys something to talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But, my imagination was going, and I mean, it still is. And I think that's a good thing.
I mean,
not like Perry, like this. for us to talk about DC Comics or something.
Like, if you wanted me to talk about, like, maybe, like, as a writer, like, why I wanted to make that choice to, like, kind of leave it ambiguous was because it's, like, it kind of all ties back to, like, that real world stuff, you know what I mean? So it's, like, in the real world, a lot of this crazy shit happens, you know what I mean? And it's, like, so, like, do we need some kind of external evil force to, like, do evil and extreme things? Or do we just need to be put in the wrong situation and be pushed too hard, you know? And I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
Right,
so
and
I'm not going to decide for you.
At the beginning, we didn't know what it was. Like, he's telling us the whole time, it's basically it's this fairy, it's somebody good, it's a protector, right? And then,
it's a protector. Exactly.
Well, I mean, it hasn't killed him, so technically it's still doing that. But
I mean, he's feeding him. So why would he
go on through this book? At the last book, you can see the eyes in the background.
Well, yeah,
in the cave. If you get those two dots, and I was like, "What's going on?" Next thing you know, you see it, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I had to go back and like really.
Well, I thought it was good because the buildup is you're thinking, okay, maybe there's somebody who's gonna. My whole thing is I'm waiting for this character to show up and help these guys, right? Like, I'm thinking, you know, it's a fairy, it's a good person. It's not, you know, it's something good that's going to come along and help these guys get through this situation. And as you go through each book, you see a little bit more of it through each story until the fourth issue comes along and you really see it. And I'm not trying to be give too much away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but there's just that one image where he's got the rabbit, right? I think it's a rabbit. And he's just like, here, I saved you some. And you're just like, wow, that's not what I was expecting it to be. Because when he first talks about it's this folklore, you leave a little bit of food out and the fairies come and they protect your house. I'm thinking, you know, there's a little cool thing that's going to come and it's going to help them get through this situation and they're going to survive it. And boy, no, I was wrong. Like, totally.
It's crazy, man. Let's try to do a little rapid fire because it's we got 15 minutes left. Man, we discussed Road of Bones, been on fire, man. If you guys have not read it, all you gotta do is go to the LCS. If not, order it. That's all you gotta do, man. Go to IDW right now. You can probably order it. I'm pretty sure, right, Rich? That's all you got.
And there's been like a few different printings because number one, it sold out a couple of times. So, you know, IDW's been really great about just trying to get more issues into the market, so everybody who wants to read it is going to be able to. So, like I know issue 4 just wrapped up, but next week we got the second printing of issue 2 coming out. We got a second printing of issue 3 coming out in September. And we probably got to wait a little while to see how 4 did before we're going to make the call on that. But we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we're also going to I think like in January there's going to be like the trade paperback. So if anybody's trade waiting, gonna have to wait a little bit longer, but it's coming.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up the trade because I feel like I want to sit down and like reread this, like because I read it digitally. But I always love reading it. Like I feel like there's something different about a book when you have it in front of you, that tangible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't want to go hunt issues down and stuff, but a trade coming out, I think that'd be perfect, man. Because I like the story. I like the ending when it had like his backpack and then we made it together. You know, I thought that was awesome. That was the coolest thing I've seen. I was like, this is it. You know,
that joke I wrote.
So, okay. I mean, I feel like we've been kind of grilling you a little bit here. Let's try and maybe liven it up, make it a little more just about you and comic books. Have you always been into comic books?
You read my mind, brother.
Hey,
hit him with the simple question, like
Yeah. Like, have you always been into comic books? Do you read comic books? Collect them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you like a new comic book day guy, or?
I mean, I try to get there like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. But I don't have like a full box. I'm like kind of like a browser. Like I just kind of like to look like through the shelves and stuff. I'm pretty tight with the guy that owns my local store. It's called Eastside Mags in Montclair. Awesome store. Anybody who lives in Jersey.
I'm moving back to Jersey.
So if there's something I want, something I know I want, I'll be like, yo, Jeff, like, put some aside for me or whatever. But yeah, like, what am I reading right now? I'm really liking Powers of X, House of X.
Oh yeah.
That's good. I've been reading Little Bird. I think
that's good. Haven't read it.
Little Bird is really good. What else?
And the Daredevil.
Haven't been keeping up with Daredevil. I like him, but I've always
good Lord, yeah, I'm getting crapped on, man. Daredevil, guys.
You good? Should I pick it up? If you guys tell me to pick it up, I'll pick it up.
Don't pick it up.
Don't pick it up.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Red Winter. Red Winter is like another Russian story. That's an indie book 4 miniseries. Issue 2 comes out at the end of the month. It's pretty good. You know, I've been liking these Russian books, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Trendy or something. I don't know.
What about like speculation? Because you know, the three of us, we're all part of this YouTube community with a lot of the people in the chat, and there's a lot of speculation that goes on. You know, hot comic books. Do you ever try to get anything like that? Do you get into the speculation at all, or?
I mean, not personally, but I totally like support it, respect it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not that I think there's anything like wrong with it. It's just like for me, I know like I got like 2 kids, and like they're always running around the house and picking up comics. You know, like I'll find shit and it's like folded or like whatever. So like I still have like a box of like my old comics from like mostly like 80s and 90s stuff. So, like I keep like dates and stuff, but like just like and like everything I do, like I'm always like saving like at least like 1 or 2 issues, but it's more like kind of like just for me, you know what I mean? But yeah, like I'm always like happy to like sign my stuff, and like you know, I think it's really kind of like cool. Like I love the fact that like there's like different variants you can collect and stuff. Like we wound up not really doing variants for Road of Bones because I think like at the time we were just really kind of focused on getting the book done. But I do them for some books, like we do them for Wailing Blade. And I think like, you know, kind of like moving forward, like we're going to try to be doing a couple, like I think we're going to try to get something together for maybe like a Road of Bones, like New York Comic Con exclusive. So, you know,
that third printing for issue number 1, I love that cover. That's
yeah,
that's my favorite cover though. Out of all of them, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, like Alex like sent that to me, and I was like, I think this might be the trade cover. I don't know.
That would be awesome.
It's so good. Yeah.
Hey, Rick, just got a quick question. I'm sorry to cut you off, brother.
Sure.
But I'm just curious, man. The first comic book as a kid, do you remember which one was it?
Yeah, I do. It was G.I. Joe, and this is like dangerous because like you guys are gonna know how old I am now. But
don't worry, I'll be turning 43 this year, so
yeah, no, it was G.I. Joe number 4 or number 5. It was either number 4 or number 5, and it was called Tanks for the Memories. And what it was about was there was a military parade with tanks, and Cobra attacked, and G.I. Joe had to get in these parade tanks and convince Cobra that they were real tanks to scare Cobra off. And that was like the challenge of the issue, is that they had these fake tanks that didn't have any ammo or didn't have anything, and they had to try to fight Cobra off with these, like, they had to like make like a show. But I remember like you know, I couldn't like tell you the balloons or anything, but like because I read it like 500 times is what it was, you know what I mean? It's like that's what it was with comics. Like I would get them, like when I was a kid, I would like go down to like the candy store in my neighborhood, get like 2 or 3 comics, and then like, because you know, had like $2-3 in my pocket or whatever, and then like I would just read them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that's part of why I love them so much, you know what I mean? Is because I did like just you know, when I was a kid, like I just fucking loved them. Like I would just read them so much. I remember that. There's the old issue of the Hulk that I remember, like kind of to a T. Bill Mantlo. It was like the Crossroads. Issue.
It's like right around 300.
Yep, right around 300. I like yeah, like in my head, like if I close my eyes, I can see the artwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
just out of curiosity, do you have any slabs or any 9.8 stuff in your house? Any stuff like that? Are you into stuff like that? Should I say? Are you into stuff like that?
I'm not into it, but I just don't know how to get started doing it. You know what I mean? Because like I would love to kind of find like a nice copy of Rotobones and like get it slabbed just so I could like have it, you know. Yeah. But like every time I think about it, I'm like, well, what do I got to do? Do I have to like bring them somewhere? Do I have to send them away? So I got to do a little research and I figure out like kind of how to do that. But I think something I want to do like with my own stuff, because I think that'd be really nice to like kind of do a wall or something of like things. I have one valuable comic. I do have New Mutants 98. I don't know I've never had it like rated or slabbed or anything, but I brought it into my store. There you go.
There it is.
Jeff, my buddy Jeff, he told me.
Rich, good mind, brother.
Yeah, he told me it was in good condition. So I don't know. We see if I gonna get a bunch of stuff slabbed, maybe I'll have him check it out and we'll see what it is. I don't know. Probably not a 9.8, but I think it's the pages are still white. It's nice. So we'll see. Yeah. Wow. But that's like my one thing that's like that I'm like, okay, this is like a valuable comic. Everything else in there is like I have like issues of like Prowler limited series from the 90s, like like New Warriors and like all this kind of stuff. That's probably wind up in the quarter bin, but it's all good, man, because I enjoyed reading them the first time. So
sweet.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yo, Jeffrey, check out the chat. We got Bradley Golden, man. Antarctic Press in the house. He's the one writing horror comics. Hello, Bradley. How you doing? And we keep it going here.
Oh, we did have a question in the chat. Kate asked, do you have anything else besides Wailing Blade? Anything else in the works now, or something future project you're thinking of?
Sure, yeah. I told you guys I had my first series, Gutter Magic, came out a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So there's actually a kind of up-and-coming publisher called SourcePoint Press. They're big fans of Gutter Magic, and they wanted me to do some more of it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be re-releasing first 4 issues with new covers starting in September, and then I think like in either January, February, we're going to start. We're going to be putting out new ones. There's going to be like a whole new story arc. That's the only thing I could really talk about like right now, but I do have like several projects in kind of like stages. I'd say, like I'm talking to Alex about
Rotobones is not over.
It's not gonna be Rotobones 2. It's not gonna be Rotobones 2, but it's gonna be another horror book. Kind of I would say like I think like it's like it's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be like Douek and Cormac horror. So it's gonna have like a signature look and like feel, and we're gonna like go deep and do some crazy stuff. So, but I think it's gonna be good. We got to talk about that's not like official yet or anything like that. It's just something like we're talking about. And yeah, just I'm like I have like a bunch of pitches in with like a few different companies, and we're just kind of waiting to see like what's gonna happen next.
There it is. We want to say Rotobones #1 first print, $10, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I know with a lot of these indies these days, they're coming out and right away they're getting picked up and they're getting optioned, and we know that option doesn't mean anything's going to happen. But has there been anything like that with Rotobones or Wailing Blade? That maybe you can't talk about that. I don't know. Can you?
I mean, nothing I can really talk about. I'll say like people have said like, oh, I could see this being like a really great movie, but there's nothing like official or anything that I could say like
okay.
But I mean but it's the kind of thing where it's like
all right.
People look and people talk, but that's the thing. It's like it's all talk until it's not. So
right.
I'm not trying to like
make the speculators go wild right now.
Yeah, right.
we're about to change the market.
Rich,
your favorite
your favorite character.
like in all comics.
It's something that you didn't create. Let's say that.
Okay. Gotta think about that for a minute. I have a few. I'd say probably like my favorite of all time, like weirdly enough, is I love Sabretooth.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know why. And like it's like a little bit edgier because I love Wolverine, but what I love about Sabretooth is just that it's like kind of like Wolverine, like the dark side of Wolverine. So like I don't know. There's just like something about him I find like undeniably cool. Like
that's awesome.
If I had to pick if it had to be like a hero, I'd say probably my favorite hero might be like probably the Hulk. I'm a big Hulk fan.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Jeff is a Hulk fanatic.
And I got to say, like, that's another book that I'm reading. I loving him with Hulk.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sad to hear that it's possibly coming to an end at 25, but it's like road bone. Sometimes it's better not to drag it out and just.
Yeah, and it's like things end so other things could begin. So it's like so we'll see what happens.
For sure.
All right, guys. So we about to hit that 1 hour mark. It's where we like to keep it, unless people in the house have questions for, of course, the writer right now of Road of Bones, Rich Dourek in the house, man. IDW in the house. Anybody has any questions right now before we go? Seems like Wolf Warner saying
Rich can't talk, and speculators will interpret that as yes.
There it is. Yeah. This is raw, man. This is how we do, Rich.
Book just went up to $40.
Sorry, guys.
Someone message Key Collector.
Welling Blade, Welling Blade was a 4-issue series too, right?
Yeah, Welling Blade's also going to be 4 issues. That's something. Also, we're it's my artist on that, Joe. He's also the co-creator, so it's something that we definitely want to see if we can extend. But I think like right now we just kind of need to focus on getting the collected edition out, and then we're gonna take a look and see if we can maybe we'll do another Kickstarter, do more, or see how it goes.
Nice. Metaphorical. One of our buddies in the chat, he says, "Rich, we love your work. Thanks for coming to do the interview."
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you so much, guys. It's been really a pleasure to be here.
Actually, guys, I went out this morning, hang out with the wife. We went to the stores and stuff like that, and she was like, "Why are you so quiet?" I was like, "Focus." Very so focused. Trying to get live. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Focus." We can't get focused for this when he go live, man, at 8 o'clock. And she locks the door. I'm here hanging out. But you know what, man? I swear, Rich, thank you so much. Coast to Coast Comics.
Absolutely.
Every Comics. Yo, thank you for accepting the invite, because when I send you that email, I was like, he can reply back. And you replied back within 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you.
I'm happy to do it. Okay. I mean, I'm happy to do it. It's like you guys want me on talk about me. That's one of my favorite subjects. So.
I'm
just saying, it's I appreciate it's like I write the books, but you guys are the ones that are out there reading it, supporting it, talking about it, and that's really important. You know what I mean? That's so just for me, thank you guys for having me on. Thank you for everybody in the chat that's been watching and contributing, and it's just it means a lot to me that I wrote something that you enjoyed enough to ask me to come on about. So
it was awesome, and we're definitely glad that you wrote it, because it gave us something good to read. One last thing before we go, though, Rich, is there anywhere that anybody can go and find you? Instagram, Twitter? Do you have a channel or anything?
All the links
in the description.
Yeah, but real quick, Instagram and Twitter, I'm at @rdouek, and Facebook, it's facebook.com/Rich Dourek. I am, I try to like be interactive. So like if you guys, you can follow me. If you have a question, shoot me a question. Like I think like probably Twitter is the one I check most often. So like if you really want to catch me, like that's probably the best place. But I do try to keep current on like everything, and I'm happy to talk. And yeah.
All right, the last question of the night, sir, Rich. This is the last question. Okay. What piece of advice would you give to any aspiring comic artists out there right now that are thinking of writing a book and all that good stuff, and you have a cast at IDW, a great artist, so any people out there that are thinking about doing what you're doing right now, let them know a little piece of it.
All right, I'd say if you're getting started, whether you're an artist or a writer or whatever it is, that basically just don't wait for permission to get started. You know what I mean? And don't wait for permission to finish stuff. I think we're in a world where you can kickstart something, you can fund it on your own, you can there's a lot of ways to get your work going that doesn't necessarily need a publisher or somebody to say yes to. And what you gotta realize is that, there's that old saying, like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You know what I mean? So very, very, very few people go from having nothing written to writing Spider-Man or writing Batman or whatever it is. So like if that's like your goal to eventually write one of these characters, it's like what you need to build up a body of work that shows these people that you do something cool and that's interesting with the character and something that is like kind of worth their time as a publisher. And the way to do that is just keep finishing stuff. And it doesn't all have to be great. It doesn't all have to be perfect. You know what I mean? I got a lot of scripts that I finished and I was just like, this is garbage. And that's fine because nobody got to see them. You know what I mean? And if I want to pick it up, if I want to like come back and pick it up a couple of years later and see if I can make it better, I can do that. So it's like there's a lot of things that kind of stop people from starting. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're afraid that it's not going to be perfect. Why even bother? Sometimes you think it's going to be a lot of work, and it's like, it is a lot of work, and it's not going to be perfect. But what you got to do is, if you want to get to some destination far away, it's like you got to start taking steps. And the steps you can take is making stuff, and you just do what you can. Like some people are going to tell you got to write. If you're a writer, you got to write every day. It's like that's great advice, but in the real world, it's like you're gonna have some days where you wiped out from your job and you can't even think about opening up your keyboard and thinking and writing. And then you're gonna have other days where you're gonna be like so supercharged that you're gonna like knock out 20 pages or whatever. So it's not so much about like writing every day, it's just about kind of having kind of this commitment to be making real progress. And the only way to do that is to do the work. So it's like if that means you can write like an outline on the train ride into work. If you could write an email to somebody, write an email to an artist that you like, asking for some advice, or a writer that you admire, an artist you want to work with, just be like, what do we got to do? You write an email, even a letter to like an editor, and just be like, hey, I really like this book, and I'm a writer and I would love to write, something someday.
Handwritten or email? What do you think?
No, an email. I mean,
handwritten. It goes along.
Handwritten, yeah. Well, handwritten if you're classy, like old fashioned.
If you're like 80 years old, you could write a hand letter.
But I'm saying, like, like
here.
Or candle wax on the back and stamp it, Rob.
Well, that would show your effort right there for sure.
Write it with a feather.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, say you're reading like Immortal Hulk, right? And there's like a letters column in the back, and they say like, write his letters. It's like the editors are gonna read those letters. So it's like, if you just write a letter, you just say like, I like what you're doing. It's like, they'll read it. Maybe they won't, they might not respond, they might not print it or whatever, but it's like, you know, if you keep showing up and you keep showing up to the game, you know, eventually they're going to recognize your name and they're going to remember who you are. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, the first comic you do might not get traction, but the fifth one might, and the sixth one might. And just the more stuff you have out there, the more chance you have that like something's going to connect with somebody. And that's really the name of the game, is just getting stuff out there, and not like all the other stuff about like, you know, is it gonna be popular? Is it gonna, are people gonna love it, or are people gonna hate it? Whatever. It's like all that is just like secondary to just having it. Because if you do it and it's not great, you can do better next time, you know? But you're never gonna get better until you find out like where you are. So that's what I would say. It would be like, if you're an aspiring creator and you want to do it, you just gotta do it. You do what you
like
can.
Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
If you could do a 5-page comic, just like a short story, do that. If you could do a 3-panel web comic that you put out once a month, but if that's all you can do, just keep doing that until you can do more. You know what I mean? It's like, you just gotta like just keep pushing yourself.
I would say too, at the same time, it's like, you know, you put stuff out there and everyone in the community puts stuff, you know, and, you know, you got to be consistent with what you do, man.
Yeah. You know, it's like, it's not like, you know, like there's that old kind of like, it's like a Hollywood thing where it's like, you know, like somebody's like, I don't know, like singing in a club or something. And then there's like somebody like Mario, like, you got the stuff, kid, you know, let me turn you into a star. It's like, that doesn't really happen like in real life, like, you know. So and especially not like in kind of conversations you're gonna have at like comic conventions or comic stores. It's like, you just gotta like kind of keep putting the work out, and you know, exactly, and you know,
I like how you talked about like Kickstarter, like something like that. That's become really big these days. So I mean, there's ways to go about it.
Indiegogo's in the house too. Indiegogo and stuff like that.
Indiegogo, Kickstarter. I'm sure there's others, and then, you know, and then there's other things. It's like, you know, if you want to, if like a book, you know, because the thing with like Kickstarter, Indiegogo is it's like you're gonna have to like print the book, so you're gonna have to learn about like how to get it printed, like all that jazz, right? So it's like, if you just want to start with like digital, you know what I mean? Like, where you're not going to be having to like deal with the printer, and you're not going to have to worry about like, you know, how to set a print run and how to set up a file for print. It's like, you know, you can do like a web comic for free. I mean, what I mean is, it's like, you can put it up on a place like Webtoon, or you can get like a cheapo like web host or something, where it's like costing you, I don't know, like maybe you have to like buy the name of the website or whatever, but you're not like spending it. But I'm just saying, you know, it's just like there's things, there's always like things you can do, like at kind of like a whatever like whatever level you're ready to like kind of engage it. It's like, you know, there's like something out there you can do.
There's a question from Metaphorical. Are you interested in working with other creators on projects like Kickstarter?
Books.
Books. Okay. I was like, what's an ook? Like, I'm always looking for new projects to work on. I mean, it's one of the perks of being a writer or for an artist is, and I feel for all my artist friends, but it's like artists can work on maybe like one, maximum like 2 books at a time. Whereas like a writer, I think you can kind of spread it out a little bit more. Like writing script is way less work than drawing out the entire book. So that's another thing. If you're a writer, you got to respect your artists, respect the work they put in. You know, it's like, it's not that writers don't do anything. It's just that, you know, art it's just like a whole other thing. So yeah, I mean, like I'm looking at a couple of things with a couple of collaborators on that, you know, may go to Kickstarter. And you know, we'll see. It's like sometimes it's the right solution for a book. Sometimes the publisher is the right solution, and it's not. But I mean, the great thing about it is that nobody's like forcing you to make a choice. It's not like if you do a Kickstarter, you're never going to work with a publisher again. It's not like if you publish a book with a publisher, you're banned from Kickstarter. So it's really just about kind of like finding the right, I guess, what would you call it, like platform for every project.
Okay.
Well said, Rich. Any questions? Perry, you have any questions for Rich before we end the show, or Jeffrey?
Well, I was just curious. I heard you were like a moderator over at Comics Experience, which is like a workshop for that helps like newer creators. I was curious about that because that's really cool. Like going out and helping people who want to learn more and like on a serious level.
Well, I mean, like, because really for me personally, like when I decided I want to start writing comics, it's like I had no idea how to get started or anything. And the great thing was I found Comics Experience, and it is a place where you can learn that. They have a few different classes that you can take if you want to take a class. There's like an intro to writing, an intro to comic art, and then there's like advanced classes. Like I think like for writing, it goes like they'll have like one about like how to write a good one shot, how to write a mini series, how to write characters and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So those are like the classes, but then there's also this like workshop, which is like a forum that I think you pay like a monthly fee to be on. But what it is you're encouraged to kind of like talk to other creators who are looking to, learn. And, if you're a writer or an artist, you can post your work and people will critique it, and you're asked to critique other people's work. So it's all you're kind of helping each other make the work better. There's professionals that are involved, like I'm involved, but then there's also like Chris Sotomayor. He's like a great colorist that works for Marvel and DC and a whole bunch of stuff. He's our colorist on Wailing Blade, but he's involved with Comics Experience, and he teaches a coloring class. But he also has like a thread on the workshop where it's like if you have a question about coloring, you can ask Chris Sotomayor about it, and he'll answer it. Colin Bunn is on there. Phil TV. He's got a couple of books with Dark Horse now. But that's the kind of thing. And also from time to time they'll do like a seminar where like I think they just did one with Greg Pak. And they've done one with James Tinian the fourth. I think Jeff Lemire one time. Basically, like the seminars is just sort of like a one-time thing where like it's almost like this where like they'll have a topic and the person will talk about the topic, but then there's opportunity to like ask them questions and stuff like that. So it's a really cool like I would say like resource for like new creators. And the one thing is that it does cost money, which that is going to be a barrier for some people. But even so, there are a lot of other resources that are free that are associated with Comics Experience. Like there's a Make Comics podcast that they put out episodes of every couple of weeks. There's a script archive that's free that you can go into and read, like old comic scripts. They have a Twitter account. They have a Facebook account that you can ask questions on. So it's like it's a business, so they are trying to make money, but they're also trying to build community and trying to help out like everyone who wants to make comics. So like I'm on there. People ask me questions. I try to help as much as I can. When I was at San Diego Comic-Con last like 3 weeks ago now. It's like a blur, but but we had a panel there, how to break into comics, and it was me, Brian Katie, Magdalene Basaggio, Phil TV, and Riley Brown, and it was really just people like Andy was moderating it, and he would ask us how we broke in, what advice we had, and then again like it was just like people were like asking us questions, and that's the thing. It's like I don't think comics is like it's not like a closed community. It's like I know it's something, creating comics is something that I love to do, and if it's if there's anything I could do to help somebody else achieve that kind of same feeling, like I'm like happy to do it. You know,
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
It's not like you know. I don't want to look at it as like, you know, oh, sorry, we're full. Comics is full. You can't come in. You know what I mean?
It's like a community over competition. You know, you want to just help as many people as you can. You know.
I mean, awesome. But that's the great thing about Comics Experience as a community is like I feel like it's really one of these places where like, you know, pretty much everyone involved in it has been great in terms of like trying to help each other out and boost each other up. You know. So like I've made some friends there that like that I've known for like years now that are great. So yeah, you know, it's a great program.
If you hang around longer with us, like Perry Comics, you know, he'll crap on me all the time, you know, about a book that sucked. But you know, and Jeffrey is a cool homie that loves the Hulk, you know. But you know what? This is what makes it so fun because you accepted the invite to hang out on this show, man, and that means a lot to us because we're just three guys just hanging out, man. And I like to call it the interview with it was an interview with the hangout because I don't want to be like, you know, just sit back, ask questions. I want you to hang out with us to see us the way we at, you know, what we do here on Coast Comics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It means a lot when you take the time to hang out with just a bunch of guys like us. Yeah. So
super cool.
This is gonna be the rapid fire right now. We're gonna end the show real quick. Right now, if you have a favorite comic book, what's your book, Rich?
My favorite comic is Transmetropolitan.
Okay.
All time. Transmetropolitan, like, hands down.
All right. Favorite writer of all time?
Warren Ellis, writer of Transmetropolitan. But it's not just that. It's like, you know, I also love Planetary and a bunch of the other stuff he's done. But he's really probably like my favorite comic writer.
All right. And what book you will be picking up this new comic book day, Wednesday?
Wednesday, I'm definitely going to be picking up.
Coast to Coast comic books, so we don't have anything.
No.
It won't be Harry comics or anything like that. But he'll be lurking.
I'm going to be picking up a book called Mountainhead by John Lees and Ryan Lee. It's by IDW. It's another horror title. It's like IDW horror is like, I mean, you know, got to represent. But John's a friend of mine, and he sent me the book a couple of weeks ago, and I got to read like a little like preview of it, and I think it's awesome. So that's definitely would be my recommend for next week.
All right, maybe we can bring him out to the show one day, whatever.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Maybe
he'll gonna have to call. He's from Scotland, so he's gonna have to call in. I'm sure he'd love to. But yeah.
So this is Coast to Coast Comics. We are so happy and grateful to have Rich Dourek in the house. IDW writer the writer of Rolls of Bones. Yo, awesome 4-book series right now. Tell your LCS you want them right now. LCS, you know what that means? Local comic book shop. Tell them right now you want to read these books because it's fire. And thank you so much for accepting the invite. And as always, yo, we got Jeffrey Cunningham Henson, Perry Comics in the house. I'm your boy Rican. Hey, Rich, do we have? Just let the people know any projects in your head running right now. Do you have anything you want to just give us a little something? What's going on in that head of yours right now? Just a little something.
Right now, working on Gutter Magic, getting that out there. You know, that's been a lot of fun. Everything else that I'm working on, and I am working on stuff. So not going anywhere. It's
nice.
It's either stuff it's not ready to talk about or stuff that I can't talk about. So
And look out for that trade.
Well,
the Road of Bones coming out.
Yeah.
Keep a lookout for that trade. Heck yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys, this is it. Coast to Coast is over. Thank you for everyone. If you like the video, all you got to do is hit that like. If not, you know what to do. But as always, thank you for hanging out. Coast to Coast Comics, Jeffrey Perry, myself, Rich Dourek. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Don't hang up. We want to end the show right now.
Okay.